Hey, what's up, traders? Yeah, bit the bullet today. Really wasn't much going on. Saw something I thought I liked in CVNA, and it's not that it was a bad move, because it was a pretty good move. See yesterday's high 466, made a decent move up towards five. Could I have been patient and got my first entry here at 520? Sure, but does that really make this any better? Maybe. The problem is these first two arrows, you're going to see the first three, I should say, are 200 shares, 200 shares, 200 shares. And I was about to add another 200 here, actually. But I found out that I couldn't. But my intention was to 1124, which had I had 800 here, hit it for another 800 here. My average was 508, so I'm assuming with the extra 200 would have been closer to like 511. I hit it up at 550, like I think I would have. That would have brought it to like 525, 523, somewhere around there, right to where it came down to. So I would have at least gotten the opportunity to get out break even. However, you'll see this fourth one is for 25 shares because I started at 200 and worked my way down to 100, 50, and then 25. And it finally let me add 25 shares. So 600 shares, 625 shares is essentially a $3,000 position on a $32,000 account with no margin. I don't quite understand why I ran into buying power issues here, but I did. Because of that, I ended up taking a decent loss. I ended up trying to let it, I essentially tried to get lucky. Our average was down here at 508. But I think when it was up at the highs right around here, our average was actually below where the halt price was. So I wasn't exactly confident, but as it started to come down here to 525, I was like, maybe we get the move down and maybe the halt price will move down. We get the to five and I get bailed out. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. I ended up cutting half the shares here. I took the 325 off to make it even again. So 300, let it do its thing, look like a fake out breakout. So I ended up adding the 300 back, looking for it to be a fake out breakout and give us this move here. Fortunately, it wasn't. So I ended up cutting the whole thing because it was a pretty good attempt to get back into this range. So if it doesn't just work there and it reclaims, the odds are it's probably going to move higher. But unfortunately, it was a fake out breakout, fake out breakout, fake out, whatever. It ended up going back up, and then that was the fake out. But we did actually end up adding all of our shares back in. Took some off on the immediate drop there, back to that previous resistance area. And I wasn't about to let this go back up against me. So I ended up cutting this at break even. I think my average was 562 there. I took it off at 563. That ended up being the high, which was pretty annoying because had I still had those shares and I actually started to kind of just add into the pops, I actually got back in here. Then I took some off, added it back in on the drop, and I was trying to do that all the way down. Had a pretty defined stop here, right over this high here. And so basically when it popped up to that area, I added as close as I could, said if it breaks through, we'll just jump out. So that's what this is here. And I'm all out there and higher. So um, it just sucks because I shouldn't have been doing any of this. I should have basically been out somewhat break even, small loss, smaller loss. I don't really know how it would have played out because it's all hindsight. But what I do know is this is BS. I had a $3,000 position in a $5 stock and I ran out of buying power. And it's very frustrating, but it is what it is. The loss isn't that big. It's $272 overall after I think it was like 320 or something. I ended up getting like give it back. It's crap on the backside. But just frustrating. Just overall not happy with the fact that I had to even deal with that because now it makes me think it's like, well, what if this was a $10 stock? Do I like? And the worst part is, I'll show you guys real quick. It says that everything's fine. It says we have 4-to-1 margin. Symbol is marginal by default. Everything says it's fine. I don't understand. Maybe I'm a noob in this category. I don't know. I did contact IB. I do think they gave weird validated answer. It's way above my pay grade. But basically they said that because I don't have a diversified portfolio with them, they can basically restrict my account when they see fit. And they said that the daily was really bad. If you scroll back, this thing was up at like 300 and some dollars. So they were taking a look at that as well. A stock that's been beaten down. I guess basically they're saying on their end they find those a little bit more risky. Possible fees coming in, etc. So just frustrated because that trade could have been fine, could have worked out, could have been a smaller red had it been red, uh, but it is what it is, and we're going to move forward. Pocket aces don't always win, right? This wasn't pocket aces by any means, but sometimes you get a little carried away with pocket tens, and the house is just, the deck is stacked against you. You flop quad tens, and the other guy's sitting over there with quad jacks by the end of it. So it is what it is, right? It's going to happen. It's an odds game. You can't win them all. It just sucks that I wasn't allowed to lose this one on my terms. I think that's the part that kind of gets me the most is I wasn't allowed to lose it on my terms and how I traded. I was forced to kind of trade it the way. So, anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask down below, Discord, Twitter, all that good stuff. If you look at the P&L curve, that does include today. So it's, again, overall, it's not that big of a deal. We did give back our entire year so far, but we're only, how many trading days in? And it could be a couple days worth of work if we do get the opportunities. At worst, it could be like 3 to 4 days, right? Anything I can keep under that 5-day mark, I'm pretty happy with. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for. And so have a good rest of your day. Stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.